Hi. So in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a landing page from scratch, and something I picked randomly off the internet. So I'm going to build this right here, and I'm just going to go through section by section and put it all together. And the purpose of this is to just give a demonstration of some of the techniques that I use that get the website, get the page responsive, and also just to show how I have things in place that allow me to work very quickly as well. Okay, so what I do is I start off right here with what do you call it, a starter site. And so this is just a template that I created, and I keep it on my local drive, and I keep it updated. And whenever I learn new techniques or come up with a new method of doing something, I'll come in here and I'll update this. And when I'm ready to start a new project, I come in here and I clone this, and I'm good to go. So all my plugins are there and all my settings are already set up. And one of the key things here is getting this thing responsive from the beginning. So I don't need to go through all of these different screen sizes and applying different settings to each different screen size. What I learned is it's a CSS, I don't know what you call it, but it's a CSS method of taking a calculation of the largest to the smallest. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So this font right here, this is my H1 tag, my H1. And so you just come over here into settings and global settings. So it already went directly to the headings, but if you were to come through here, you go to global settings and you go to headings. And in here, instead of like putting 48 pixels here and then having to go through all the different screen sizes and says, and go like, okay, well, when I'm on tablet, I don't want it to be 48 because that's way too big for a tablet. Type in my setting, maybe down to 42 pixels on a tablet. And then on a phone, 42 is going to be too big. Got to go in there, change it to 38. Don't have to do that at all. So here, let me copy this out of here and put it in my notepad right here so you can get a better view of it. So it's called Clamp, and it's a function. That's what it is. It's a CSS function. So what you do is you take the largest font, the largest size you want for that font to be displayed on your desktop screens, and you put that in here. And then this is your smallest right here. So I want it to go from 48 on the desktop down to 32 on phones. And I didn't come up with this calculation. That's not even close. So what I did is there's an online calculator, and it does all the work for me. Okay, like I said, I want to go fast. So you select rem. I work in rem, not pixels, but it's still giving you a pixel size. But it's just a calculation. So here we go. None of these things up here matter. This is where it matters right here, is the range. So in this calculation, 2.2, that's going to be 22 pixels, down to 1.6 is 16 pixels. And then the viewport size is from 32 pixels to 1280 pixels. So 320 pixels to 1280 pixels. And you put clamp, rem up there, and then it gives you the calculate, and it gives you the code down here. So you just got to copy this, and then in here you paste it in there. And then it works. And here, I'll show you how that works. Let's go into the front end here for a second. And I use this Chrome extension here called What the Font. And if you just hover over a font, it's going to tell you what the font is, as the name implies, what the font. So you click on it and you'll see it's Open Sans. Font weight is 700. Size is 48. Okay. So this is on full size, full screen. Now, if I was to take my browser window and shrink it down and do the same thing, it's now 35. Okay. So automatically responsive. Don't got to go back in there and change the settings at your different, no media queries or anything like that. It's just responsive right off the bat. Never have to think about it again. Takes, on a project, literally it could probably save me a couple of hours of work on each project, and it's consistent across the entire site. Okay, so you see here, large screen size 48, small screen size 35. Let's get out of that. And I did the same thing for my padding as well. So in my sections right over here, so if you come back here to global settings and you go sections and columns, excuse me, did the same thing here. So let's see what this is here. So this is going from 10 which is 100 pixels, down to 6, which is 60 pixels. And this is all in multiples of 10. So I set that over here. So if you come into the style sheets, and you'll see the base font, HTML font. So this is how it works with the fonts, because all browsers, the default is 16 pixels, and you could do that; it'll work. But then you would have to be multiplying 16 all the time. I can't do 16. Like I said, I want to be fast. So I came over here and I did font size at 62.5%. So that takes 16 pixels and gets it down to 10, or very, very close to 10. So here are some other things that I put into my style sheet that get me going, just as the foundation, as the boilerplate for this. And what we got is card, and what this is going to do is help me space things evenly and consistently throughout the whole site. I just take this card class, apply it to this wrapper, and everything in here is going to be evenly spaced. These two elements are in a div, so they're, I want them to be a little bit closer. But if you take this element and this element and this element, there's going to have the same consistent spacing throughout the whole thing. Okay. And that's with this. So I have card 1, and card small. So 2 rem, which is 20 pixels. So we got 20 pixels here, and so on. I also threw in some max width classes throughout the whole thing. So stay consistent throughout the whole thing there. So that's how that works. And so that is my starter site. That's that's how I start every project. And with this, and then all I have to do now, and this is on my local drive. So let's close this. We can leave it. And I use local by Flywheel. So here's my Oxy master. I use Oxygen Page Builder, so I call everything Oxy. So all I got to do at this point is come in here and clone this site. And we're going to call this one page tester. Hit clone site. And this is going to keep it on my local drive, so things will move pretty quickly. And what I like about this right here is if I'm working with a client and I'm working locally, I can create a live link with local by Flywheel, and I can share that link with them so they can see it from wherever they are. Sometimes I do work on the server. I just find it a little bit quicker to do things here. And there's no real plus or minus to it. So it's asking me for my password here. So now this is done. Sometimes it might take a minute. Okay, so now that I got this cloned, just open up the site. And here we are. So this is now the one page tester. Here is my Oxy Master local. And this is it. It's exactly the same cloned site. And now from here, we'll start the build. And I will create another video. Trying to keep these videos short, 10 to 15 minutes at the longest. So I'm just going to keep them like this. So that's the beginning. Next video, we're going to go into the build, the actual build. Okay, thank you.